I'm 16 years old, and both my mother and grandmother were diagnosed with stage 3B breast cancer. When I hear cancer nowadays, I see how it can tear a family apart. Going into their journeys, I was in different times in my life. I had different looks on the world and even different morals and values. My mother was diagnosed January 11th, and through her process, I was stuck not knowing what would happen to my mother. I put myself into my shell and constantly was crying and not knowing what would happen to her and what this disease could do to her. I was just stuck in the clouds.
So I had what they call neoadjuvant treatment, which means that I had 4 rounds of chemo, and then I had surgery, a lumpectomy, and then I had 4 more rounds of chemo, and then I also had radiation.
After my mother survived and has been a survivor for 7 years, my family fell back to square one, and I found out my grandmother was diagnosed with stage 3B breast cancer right before I turned 16.
And I think I cried more than I did when I found out my grandma was diagnosed. It really hit me hard because now I knew what breast cancer was, and I knew how it could affect a family, and I knew how it could take a teenager's life and spin it around in circles.
I had chemo every week, and after chemo I had an operation.
How did that differ from my mom's treatment?
Tracy had, I think she had chemo first, and then she had a surgery, and then she had radiation, I believe. But she only had 1 lump, and I had 3 different areas. I can't remember the name of one area, but the other ones were a nodule. I had a nodule, and also I had some calcification. Fortunately, they were all in one breast and on just the same side. They weren't all over the breast, but I didn't have the option of getting a lumpectomy like Tracy did. I had to have my breasts removed.
I'm currently having a fashion show for breast cancer research. I'm doing this to honor my grandmother and mother, but to also not have kids and teens go through what I did.
And what are your thoughts on me having a fashion show for breast cancer?
I think it's a great initiative. You should be more aware of how big this issue is and how many people can actually be affected by it. So I think it's a great initiative. Thank you so much.
The night I found out my mother was diagnosed, it was the beginning of reality for me. And I think that kids and teens should not watch their loved ones go through that.
I started fundraising. I started selling candy around school for I think about 2 months. I was downsized for it. I am collecting 2,500 pairs of shoes.
I am Crystal XXO Fashion for the Cure.
How many bags you think this is?
Shoe Drive.
I am over 1,000 pair of shoes, close to 2,000. I don't want little girls and boys to go through what I went through when I was young, watching my mother and my grandmother have to go through this process of being hurt and not being able to get up and not being able to see their family, wear their hair how they want to.